Killmonger versus Kang.
Sounds like a damn monster movie.
So I just watched Creed 3. I just got back from the theater. Now, Creed 3, what do I think about it? It is fan-fucking spectacular. I was a bit worried about Michael B. Jordan being a first-time director. He does very basic framing when it has nothing to do with the fights, but when it comes to fights, that's where he really shines. I think Michael B. Jordan could definitely try out action directing if possible, especially with how he treated the fight. And they weren't kidding when they say there was a lot of anime inspiration and anime flair within the fights. It is definitely there, and it is right in your face, and I love it. I'm not that big of an anime fan. I'm a very, 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 very casual anime fan, but even I was able to notice the theatricality of enemies' weak spots being zoomed into, or the replicated frame by frame of Goku gut punching Frieza. Story-wise, it's pretty basic. It's kind of like Rocky 3. Adonis has got wealth, money, a happy family, and then all comes kind of crashing down-ish when his friend slash brother, Damien, comes into his life. And Damien, played by Jonathan Majors, is outstanding too. I wish he had more scenes. Michael B. Jordan stands out in this movie a lot more. I mean, obviously he is the title character, but then this time he doesn't have a mentor figure. He has to stand on his own, and I like that a lot. And you can see that Michael B. Jordan really knocks it out of the park, especially in the close heart-to-heart moments with his wife and his mother. Because now that he doesn't have Rocky at his side, he has to do everything on his own. And, you know, of course, you're going to overcome your fighting demons and overcome you're going to overcome stuff with your father figure. But when it comes to being a man on your own, that's going to be tough. He has issues that haven't been resolved from his past, like with Damien, and then it comes up to the surface. Because I was worried, since he was directing it and he had to act in it, that doing those two jobs would be difficult. Because, you know, directing's already hard enough, but then when you got to act and direct in it too, I can't imagine all the workload that's on him. But he still managed to stand out a lot more than I thought he would. And the one thing I found interesting is that Bianca, she stopped performing in order to have her last few years or whatever of still having hearing in order to spend it with her family. And I thought that was very nice, and that she's producing music rather than performing. And the other thing that I didn't expect was Adonis and his daughter to have such a heartwarming and so heartfelt moments in this movie. And what brings a smile to my face is how they use sign language, and then you have the subtitles which you have to read. It was more of like a physical acting, and you had to get the emotions from just reading the subtitles and their body movements and facial expressions. The most heart-wrenching part of this movie is definitely Marianne's character. Because, you know, you go into the movie thinking, oh, she's just going to be like another emotional support for him. But then when you realize that she's had strokes, you're kind of like, oh, damn, that's sad. But she'll still stick around. She'll still be around, right? And then they hit you with the latrine. And then just to find out that she hid Damien's letters from him and that he decided to forget Damien himself, it's almost kind of tragic. And it hit me emotionally because, you know, there are times in your own family or your own circles where you're kind of like, oh, I hate you for doing this and all that. And this would never happen if you'd done this. And then, you know, sometimes it might just be the last things you say to them and you don't know when they're going to go. And so when Adonis is treading old stomping grounds and then he gets the call about his mom organ failures and all that, and going there, it fucking wrecked me. She's on her deathbed and she's having like small increments of dementia, I believe. I hope I'm using the term, medical term right, to where she's starting to see Adonis as Apollo, and then, you know, talking to Adonis like he's Apollo and saying that, you know, since I adopted Adonis, it has helped me get over being angry at you, since when you left me, I was so angry. And that shit just fucking wrecked me, man. Like, I was literally shedding tears when that scene happened, because it harkens back to the legacy of Apollo Creed starting in Rocky, but then also harkens all the way back to the present to, you know, of what has brought the Creed and Rocky together in this entire franchise. And then, yeah, I just felt all kinds of emotions in that scene. Like, seriously, that's probably like the most standout scene in Creed 3, in my opinion. I think the movie overall is spectacular, but I only have two tiny gripes. The training montage and not enough of Damien. So when it came to the training montage, you know, Creed 1, I felt it in my bones. You know, that training montage motivated me. Creed 2, I felt it in my soul, especially when he got up from that hot-ass asphalt of a road and got up and started running again. Like, I felt motivated in both of those training montages, and that motivation just elevated. But with this one, I was like, it's okay. Like, a lot of the training stuff is, like, you know, very bare bones basic. I'm not really trying to like have it be like, you know, oh, training montage 1, 2, and 3, like with Rocky 4. But I still kind of hoped it would like, you know, amp up. But I guess it might just be Michael B. Jordan directing the training montage that is not as great as how Ryan Coogler would have done it. So while I think the training montage for Creed 3 was all right, I think seeing him overcome that physical barrier.
The training montage did have a physical barrier, but I wanted it to be a little bit more apparent because Rocky 3, he can't get over, you know, the guilt of lying to Mickey. And so it's his wife that pulls him out of the rut and helps him get through it. And so when he gets that pep talk, he finally takes the training seriously. And then we get his, you know, his moment of rising above the physical barrier. And then the mental barrier comes in during the fight when he has to break through that mental barrier. And I think the mental barrier was shown much better in Creed 3, whereas the physical barrier going to the training montages, not that great. I mean, it's still motivational and emotionally moving, but it just doesn't have that stick with your inner soul or stick into your bones kind of feeling like how Creed 1 and 2 did. And then my second gripe with this movie was just not having Damien be fleshed out enough. Like, I mean, I get this movie's about Creed, but just a little bit of Damien would have not hurt. Because in Creed 2, they managed to do that with Drago's son and Drago. I mean, why couldn't you do that with Damien here? It definitely would have humanized him a lot more.
And a part of me does feel like there was some internal conflict that they didn't really show in the movie about Dame. Because during the final fight, it does feel like there is some turmoil within him where he still sees Adonis as his little brother and that he doesn't want to fight him, but he has to prove it to himself that he can be champ and hold the title.
But those two are very minor gripes. Overall, this movie is still fantastic. Creed 3, I'm going to give a 8 out of 10. This movie is finally cementing Adonis as a Rocky character in his own right, with still the legacy of Rocky Balboa and Apollo Creed on his side, but he's becoming his own man now, and I like that. He even has some bits and pieces of his father too when he's being a fight promoter. When he's in the suit and talking about promoting fights and all that, I'm like, you know, kind of reminds me of Carl Weathers a bit, and I thought it was neat. Other than that, hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you all next time.